In this Fextra Life video, I want to talk a little bit about whether Titan Quest 2 can go the distance and leave its mark in the ARPG space. It's kind of a classic ARPG compared to more modern ones like Last Epoch and Path of Exile 2. So we're going to get into that in this video. We're also going to talk about the hotfix that just happened the other day, as well as the roadmap that THQ Nordic posted about the game. So let's get into it. First of all, a couple things I want to talk about with the hotfix that I really appreciate them fixing, some things that were definitely impacting the game. The first one is fixed gamepad quick equip not working correctly. It reacted to press key instead of press once and was thus switching items multiple times while holding the key. This was really, really frustrating for me. I've been playing almost exclusively on controller, and it was definitely getting very annoying equipping items, so I'm glad that's something that was fixed. Another thing that I think isn't quite a big deal in terms of like the general gameplay, but just for people out there that might be having a different opinion about this game because of the playtime they have in early access, is that apparently the paused game time, e.g. when you're in the mastery screen messing around with your masteries, was not contributing to your character playtime statistics in the main menu. When you select your character, you can see how much you've played. You spend a lot of time in the mastery screen in this game. You're intended to change your modifiers and respec and try different skills. It's a big part of this game. None of that was contributing to your actual game time for your character. So if it feels like you didn't play that long and you're wondering whether it was worth the money or not, just know that you were probably playing longer than you thought. So in the roadmap that THQ Nordic posted, they talk about being a major update every 3 months. We mentioned this in our previous video, but they also said you can expect balancing, bug fixing, and minor updates every 1.5 months. So that's pretty good to know. There's going to be constant updates to this game over the early access period. As we mentioned in our previous video, it's supposed to launch at the tail end of 2026, everything going well, which is about 16 to 17 months away still. Things that we know are going to be added based on what they posted is more content, which is great. There's going to be a new chapter added. I'm assuming that the first chapter is what we've got now. There's going to be a chapter 2 or an act 2. They're also adding a character creator to the game so you can make your character. They're going to be adding new masteries in future updates. They're also going to be adding new items, enemies, bosses, quests. Crafting will finally be implemented. There'll be multiplayer improvements. Additional languages will be added to the game. So there's a lot of things still coming over the next 16 to 17 months. And this is honestly music to my ears because Titan Quest 2 currently is about a quarter or a third of an actual game. It's not even close to being a full game completely. It's not marketed as one. You can pick up the game right now for a very cheap amount of money. It's like $25 US or something like that. So they're very aware of that too. But this game is going to be $50 on PC at the launch of the game. So the price is actually going to increase throughout early access the further they get into it. So that means, after another couple updates, it'll probably be $30, $35. And then as they get closer to full launch, it'll be making its way up to that $50 price tag, which is still not terrible for, a game out there when we know that there are games coming out now that are $70 and they're trying to push $80 price tags. 50 is a really good price. And if you know that you're going to be playing this game at launch, even if you don't want to burn yourself out on it now, but you want to play it at launch, it's not a bad time to pick it up for a lower price and then just kind of wait it out and play it later. Something that I love to see also that they noted in their Q&A was that there's no microtransactions or loot boxes in the game, but that they do plan to update and release DLCs as well as expansions in the future. A big part of Titan Quest was those expansions, and I think it really added to the game because not only did it give you more acts to play through, but it also gave you new masteries, which allowed you to play through earlier acts in different ways and make new builds. So assuming they do something similar to that, that is just absolutely fantastic. And I will continue to play this game as they update it and do that. They talked a little bit about multiplayer as well. There is a preview version that is separate from the single player version. It seems like the characters don't carry over, like you don't have a multiplayer character that can also play single player currently. In the previous game, you could, take your single player character in the multiplayer, if I remember correctly. And you can play with up to 4 people. I've been playing around with this with Fex a bit. It's been playing really well, actually. I think we've had a couple disconnects. I'm not even sure if that wasn't my internet, if I'm totally honest. So it's been playing pretty well so far. I will note that there was a couple of bugs with the auras of buffs, from certain skills that give you 18 meter radius auras like the previous game had. Don't seem to be impacting my companion or my, effects in this case. So there are a couple bugs like that in the game currently. These are not staggering, and the game seems to play rather well. So I like what I see here, and I can't wait for this to be a big part of the full launch of the game. They also mentioned that the game will not have mounts, and I think this is probably for the best. One of the things, though, that I will say about the game is it's very large in terms of the amount of landmass that you have to cover to get through Act 1 currently, and you have very slow movement speed, it feels like, compared to other ARPGs. I think that's one of the reasons that it feels like it's more of a classic ARPG, but I will say that I don't always enjoy it being bigger. Bigger is not always better. They do have lots of things to do. I enjoy the verticality of the map. Like, there was just simply no verticality in Titan Quest 1, maybe a little bit, but not a lot. There's a lot more verticality in this game than that one, and I don't think it's something that a lot of ARPGs lean into. It definitely feels a bit more immersive, and the game world feels a bit more alive than maybe some ARPGs out there because of that. But I do worry that if the pacing of the game continues to be what it is throughout other acts, that you're doing a lot of running around to open like one chest that has one item in it that's, you know, not amazing. So I hope that maybe either they improve movement speed or maybe don't make every area so large, maybe have more segmented areas. We'll have to see how that goes. They also mentioned that they are trying for at least 6 masteries at the release of the game, with potentially more during DLCs and expansions. They said that they want those masteries to be more versatile and impactful than the original Titan Quest. I don't know how I feel about this, because versatility is not bad. I like the sound of versatility, but having less masteries in a sequel that's 20 years later than the original launched with is kind of shocking to me. In a day and age where everything has to be bigger and better than the previous version, you're going to do less 20 years later, and that potentially do less. That's a little bit shocking to me. I don't think I'm super happy about that. Obviously, they may get more than 6, so this may just be a fear that I'm having, and it may not be true, but I don't think they want to overcommit to a number, so I'm guessing that we're going to have 6. And I don't know how I feel about that. I like the specializations of the masteries from the previous game. It allowed for more specialized builds. I know a lot of people like the current setup where like you really can't go wrong with any build that you have, but it also doesn't make the masteries feel as unique as I feel like they should. I don't want a Storm Warfare build to feel just like an Earth Warfare build or just like a Rogue Warfare build. I want them to feel very, very different, and I'm not sure if they're as generalized that will be the case. There are no plans for PvP in this game, so if you're a PvP ARPG player, that's bad news for you. They did mention that the endgame content is going to be focused around creating a polished and replayable campaign. This is kind of what the endgame was in Titan Quest 1 until they added more stuff later on. It does sound like they're going to be working on some maybe other endgame activities as well. They have not stated what those are, but typically in Titan Quest 1, you would play through a normal and then epic and legendary, etc. And it would get harder and harder, and then you would unlock like more and more boss fights that were only available in the later difficulties before they added other activities to do as well. That doesn't bother me at all. I really love the campaign of Titan Quest. The regions that you go to, the landscapes are beautiful, they're immersive. So playing them over and over never really bothered me. So if they go for something similar here, I think that's, you know, what more or less people would expect. So all in all, I like what I've seen from Titan Quest 2 so far. It stays true to the original. It's not trying to be just like every other ARPG on the market with a Titan Quest skin on it. It definitely feels very much like Titan Quest if you like that game. Or if you like Grim Dawn, it has a very similar feel to it. But it has a long way to go yet. We are still at the very beginning of early access. And I think the next major update will really give us an idea of what we can expect from THQ Nordic moving forward. If it's a lot of content, that's a great sign. If it's a little bit of content, that's not a great sign. If it's a medium amount of content, then, you know, jury's still out there. But we need a lot more content in this game right now. You can play through the game in about 5 hours or 6 hours from start to finish on one character. You can obviously then level up enemies and keep playing and fight some of the bosses and replaying them. But you're probably only going to do that for so long, and because when you switch characters, there just aren't a ton of builds that are as strong as some others currently in the game, I don't know how many times you're going to just play through that. Act 1 is fun, it's immersive, but it's not the way the loot is right now, the way that there's only a few bosses and there's only a few masteries, it's not so replayable as it's going to be at the full version of the game where you can start over and play with, you know, way more combinations and masteries. So I think there's a long way to go in this game yet. I'm super optimistic about it. I like what I see. The game feels like Titan Quest, and that's the most important thing to me. And one thing we all know about Titan Quest is that they kept updating it, they kept adding things to it, even years and years later. So even if it's not a perfect product at the launch of the game, I have no doubt that it's only going to continue to get better post-launch. and that has me excited. What do you guys make of Titan Quest 2 Early Access so far? Are you a returning Titan Quest player out there? What do you like about the Titan Quest Early Access? What don't you like? Have you seen the roadmap? Does it make sense to you? Do you think they can realistically get like 2/3 or 3/4 of a game done in another year and 4 months, or is that too much for them to do? Let me know in the comments below.